A lot of things go into planning, preparing, and sending a cease and desist letter in a trademark dispute. I want to go over 25 key considerations. Biggest consideration is priority. Must make sure who has priority to the extent it's possible to determine with as much confidence as possible. Knowing what the relevant dates are and who has priority is a key foundation, as is the second, confusion. I mean, is there really a likelihood of confusion, or is there actual confusion? What are the goods and services? What are the marks? How strong is the argument regarding confusion? Third consideration, should the letter be sent? Sometimes doing nothing is better than sending a letter. If you're going to send a letter, what is the tone? Where are you going to send it to? How are you going to send it? Email, certified mail, regular mail, overnight delivery? These are actually important decisions. How much time are you going to give the other side to reply? What comes next? This is something that we like to talk to our clients a lot about. We want to think through, almost like chess, what are the next moves? If they respond like this, then what's the next move going to be? Or if they don't respond, what's the next move going to be? You have to consider what the follow-up steps are going to be. What are you going to demand? Are you going to demand that they cease using it altogether or something else, which gets to the next consideration, a compromise? Are you going to seek some sort of a compromise? Compromise could include the next consideration, which is consent. When you're talking about consent, you need to know, are there related USPTO filings that the recipient has? Are there related USPTO filings that the sender of the letter has? That's going to be key in trying to figure out what we're solving here and how we're going to solve it. Another consideration, how big or small is the other company? It's just a matter of reality that is a factor, or it ought to be, in the strategy. How litigious is the other company? Again, valuable to know up front. Is your lawyer experienced in this field? I think that's quite important. Would it make sense to file suit first? Sometimes it makes sense to file suit first. There's some considerations there that I don't have time to go into here, but it's worth considering. Or is it worth filing a domain name arbitration dispute first? Or is it worth filing an online takedown first? 20th consideration is, what is your budget? What is the budget for this situation, this dispute? Because again, that's going to factor into what you're asking for, how you're asking for it, and that sort of chess game of where might this ultimately end up. What is the best case scenario important to think about with this chess match and strategy? What is the worst case scenario important to think about? Is there a possible Streisand effect? Streisand effect is where you take something that you're concerned about, but it's very unknown. It's not well publicized, this thing that you're concerned about. And by making a big deal that you're concerned about it, you actually bring more attention to the thing that you were concerned about that nobody else really was paying attention to before. It's quite a fascinating situation, the Streisand effect. Is there a business-to-business discussion that could be appropriate first? Generally, I like to document things and have the lawyers involved, but it's worth considering, should the businesses try to talk first with each other? And finally, when you're preparing to send such a letter, are you prepared for it to go public? Because today, that's a reality that it could be possible that the person receives it and posts it and shares it. So you really want to make sure that you're not saying anything in the letter that you would be uncomfortable if the whole world knew about all of a sudden, as they say, if it was on the front page of the New York Times or pick your other newspaper. So those are some of the many considerations about sending cease and desist letters. If you want to learn more about that Streisand effect, because it really is very interesting, stay tuned for the next video.